Welcome back to the Dolor Factor. I'm Delia Dolor, and with me is Bashana Days. And I had to go to get my glass of wine because Bashana has some very interesting views, rightly or wrongly, but they're very, very interesting. Now, when we were talking to Velika a while ago, and you were explaining your reasons why you asked her to hold on before she actually explained about what had happened to her. At the end of it, you ended up talking of saying that we don't know when certain things are going to happen, so our first kiss and so on and so forth.
Yes.
And then you also said that you can say no, or you know when
it's a choice.
It's a choice. I know many women, including myself, if I can say so. That's why I'm very strong about it. Where, especially when I was younger, not now, where I found myself in situations and I felt they were wrong. I knew they were wrong, and I'm not saying I did wrong. I'm saying someone did wrong to me, or even if I was in a relationship or starting a relationship, they would kiss me. And I didn't want them to kiss me. And just to keep quiet, just because I wanted to keep the peace, just because maybe I wanted them to go home. You know, because sometimes I just, because if you don't, so why do you want to kiss me? You know, the conversation is better to just have the kiss and then go. And I think that a lot of people go through this. Another thing is I have experienced, a friend of mine said to me that when she was younger, and I'm saying this because I think there'll be a lot of people who will identify to that, and if it has happened to you, it's time for you to speak out. It was a very, very long time ago when, you know, people were sending their children away or got to maybe to join, maybe the mother had left and left the child with the grandparents, and then the grandparents, you know, send them back eventually. So that's what happened to a friend of mine. Her parents went to England to work and so on, left her with her siblings with the grandparents, and then they sent back for them one by one. She was the first child to go back. And during the flight, I think she was 18, 19, she was, during the flight, she sat next to a gentleman, and she was cold. So she put the blanket over her, and the gentleman said, "Oh, I have another spare blanket, would you like it?" And she said, "Oh yes," you know, she put the blanket. And she said she fell asleep, and then she just felt something. She felt that she was being touched, but she decided that she was just going to say nothing.
And pretend to be sleeping.
Yes.
Wow.
Because that was just, at the time she's thinking, you know, what's he doing? But I don't know what do I say? We're all different. Some people would have gone crazy. What, you know, what do you think you're doing? Blah, blah, make noise. And some people.
The fight would have stopped in the air.
Thank you. But some people, especially if you were brought up with manners and so on and so forth, you know, like Velika said in the first show we had, that sometimes she knew it was wrong and she knew how she felt, but you know, she just didn't do anything about it. And there are lots of women who have found themselves in situations.
I've been, and if you remember in the last show too, I said I found myself in weird or bad sexual situations. And I think there's two spectrums here. There's the stranger who thinks that they can take advantage of you. And then there's the friend, the boyfriend, the love interest that you let into your close personal space who wants things that you don't want. So now let's speak about the stranger first. The stranger to me is a molester. Straight up. There's no, like, in my, I don't know if it's legally correct to say that, but in the instance where your friend was on asleep on a plane, where the person, this is the invitation, would you like a blanket? So this is, oh, he's a stranger, but I'm cold and he's assisting me, so there's that little gate open there where, you know, it's sad that men have to be portrayed like that. It's sad that men who do that allow their whole gender to be blanketed by that. We were also talking about maybe how some women are raised, like you say, with manners. How far does this manners go? Is manners so, is a lady seen and not heard so much that she must allow anybody to do anything to her? That's a bad lesson, I think. I think parenting needs to be revolutionized. That's not correct.
Yeah, but you see, sometimes it's not even about parenting, it's about feeling shame.
So that's internal.
You feel, yes, it's
that's
internal.
a personal thing.
You feel shame. You just don't know how to deal with it, and also you're isolated because in that situation,
she's the only one on that.
She's on that plane on her own. She doesn't know anyone in here. She doesn't know what the. And the other thing is sometimes, and I have seen similar things like where you get threats, like you see on television. You know, if you say something, you get a threat. So you don't know in her mind, because even though we say 18, you think 18 is maybe you're of age and so on and so forth. But come on, when I think about it now, when I was 18, I thought I knew it all.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, you couldn't tell. When I was 11, I thought I knew it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's at 18, you're supposed to know it all, but you don't.
When you're a baby, yeah.
You don't.
That's the thing. I think all of these things are tests as well to kind of assert your worth. Some people, because of the personality, because of the situation, circumstances that I do think with all of my strength, I don't know, I might leave here today and I might be faced with somebody with a knife around my neck, let me touch your breast or I'll slice your neck, and I might have to let them do it. You know, I think it is a survival mechanism as well. In her case, well, now that you've, really led on to that her frame of, it depends on the frame of mind of the female or the individual rather. You know, it depends on the frame of mind. How far do you think this is going to go? What can you do in the instance? Because I would expect, I mean, people sitting on a plane, everybody's close, so if she wanted to ask for some kind of, it's a lot of different things. And if you feel ashamed to stand up for your rights, then there's something essentially wrong about that, because at the end it should be that it's all about self-preservation. It should be. It should be. Not to a fault, but you know.
Is there a moment that Velika has said something to you and you tell her one thing because that's what you think she wants to hear, but deep down you're saying something completely different?
I can't. I think I always tell her how I would do something. I'm a different personality, and we have that mutual respect where we already know that we will deal with one situation in two totally different ways. We're similar, very similar in certain instances, but I think whenever I'm coming to give any kind of guidance, advice, I always think, or I give the disclaimer, my girl, if that happened to me, blah, 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 blah.
I
right?
can see that.
And then afterwards I would
girl.
say, yeah, come and hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So, and some instances where I know it's a sensitive topic, where I see that her emotions are very deeply entrenched in it, or I realize that I think it's just being careful as well. You just kind of, like, I would choose my words, but to get the same point across, not to make it seem, like, not to worsen the feeling that she's already feeling one way or the other, you know? And I try my best to be objective. I try my best not to tell her you have to do it and you should and you must, you know, that kind of lingo. Of course, I'm passionate about something and she will know, and then of course she asserts her worth very well, where she'll be like, that's how you will deal with it, okay? That's not how I want to do it, so point taken, thanks. That kind of way, you know?
Gosh, you know, she's so animated. I would not like to be on the wrong side of her.
No.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.